For decades, the name Seagal meant one thing: bone-crunching Hollywood action. It was a brand built on Aikido, broken wrists, and blockbuster films that defined an era. But the next chapter of that legacy isn't being written on a movie set. It's being forged inside a wrestling ring. In a whirlwind week in August 2025, the wrestling world was stunned when Steven Seagal's daughter, Arissa LeBrock, showed up first in TNA and then made a dramatic debut on WWE's Monday Night Raw. To understand why her arrival sent shockwaves through the entire industry, you have to know the incredible story that happened before the cameras were on. It's a story of overcoming a devastating injury, fighting through the immense shadows of her famous parents, and a brutal comeback that proves she is far more than just a name. Hollywood royalty doesn't belong in a wrestling ring. They're born of privilege, not punishment. They're actors, not athletes, or so we're told. Well, this past August, that all changed. The wrestling world just got rocked by a name you know, but a style you've never seen. The daughter of action legend Steven Seagal has arrived, and her real story is even more shocking than her debut. The week of August 7th, 2025, was one for the history books. First, on TNA Impact, the wrestling world was buzzing when Arissa LeBrock made a shocking appearance, immediately creating speculation and getting her name trending worldwide. Fans and journalists alike were stunned, comparing the moment to other legendary arrivals in wrestling history. But that was just the beginning. 5 days later, on Monday Night Raw on August 12, 2025, she did it again. During a segment with the reigning women's world champion, the arena suddenly plunged into darkness. When the lights came back up, Arissa LeBrock was standing there, a silent and imposing figure on the entrance ramp. The crowd erupted in a mix of shock and confusion. As she walked to the ring, her expression was one of cold, focused intensity, eerily reminiscent of her father's on-screen persona. She didn't play to the crowd or show any emotion. She simply entered the ring and stood face-to-face with the stunned champion. No match took place, but a clear message was sent. The confrontation was a statement. She didn't just arrive to participate, she arrived to take over. In the span of a single week, she had put 2 of the world's top women's divisions on notice. To get why Arissa just became the most talked-about figure in wrestling, you have to understand the massive shadow she was born into. Her father is Steven Seagal, a legitimate 7th Dan black belt in Aikido who became a phenomenon in the late 80s and 90s. Her mother is Kelly LeBrock, the supermodel and actress who defined an era of style in the 80s. Arissa was, by every definition, Hollywood royalty. But a life of flashbulbs comes with crushing pressure. In a move to give her kids a normal life, Kelly LeBrock moved the family away from Los Angeles to a ranch, wanting to raise them far from the chaos of Hollywood. Still, the legacy was inescapable. Arissa first made a name for herself on her own terms as a plus-size model, appearing on the reality show Growing Up Supermodel in 2017. There, she championed body positivity and fought to be seen for who she was, not just whose daughter she was. But away from the photo shoots, a grittier passion was growing. Arissa began seriously training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. This wasn't a celebrity hobby. She became a dedicated and fierce competitor, training at the renowned Paragon Jiu-Jitsu and winning tournament medals. She was building a foundation of legitimate combat skill, not for a movie role, but for herself. It was here she forged her own identity, merging her mother's star quality with her father's combat discipline. This rare combination made her a perfect prospect for sports entertainment, and in 2019, the biggest name in the game came calling. The WWE Performance Center in Orlando is a dream factory, but it's also a meat grinder. The tryouts are notoriously brutal events designed to push the world's most elite athletes to their breaking point. For Arissa, this was her golden ticket. The pressure was immense. In wrestling, a famous last name can put a target on your back, forcing you to prove you belong. She was ready, convinced her BJJ background gave her the legitimacy she needed. And then, in an instant, It all fell apart. Sometime during or after that grueling WWE tryout, disaster struck. Arissa suffered a major, career-threatening injury. It wasn't a minor sprain, it was a setback so severe it brought her wrestling ambitions to a screeching halt. One moment she was on the verge of her dream, and the next, it was snatched away. After the tryout, Arissa didn't get a WWE contract. She vanished from the wrestling world, fueling rumors that a celebrity's daughter simply couldn't handle the tough business. But the reality was far more tragic. She wasn't rejected, she was broken. The physical recovery was a long battle, but the mental toll was even worse. In a moment of incredible honesty, Arissa later admitted she had fallen into a dark place, saying, "I realized that I had become comfortable in the darkest, worst place in my life." For most people, that would have been the end. Arissa's journey is a masterclass in fighting back. It's a story of incredible resilience that brought her to this history-making moment. Now that she's here, the possibilities are endless. Who do you want to see her face next? A powerhouse? A technical master? Let me know your dream matches in the comments below, and if you're enjoying this story, do us a solid and hit that subscribe button. While Arissa was in that dark place, her phone rang. On the other end was a voice that understood struggle and the crushing weight of a famous last name, Dustin Rhodes. The son of the legendary Dusty Rhodes, Dustin saw a kindred spirit and offered her a second chance. Not a shortcut, but an invitation to move to Austin, Texas, and train at his acclaimed Rhodes Wrestling Academy. This was the call she needed. She packed her bags, left her life in California behind, and threw herself into the craft. The Rhodes Wrestling Academy is a world away from the polished WWE Performance Center. It's an old-school, gritty, sweat-stained dojo where the only thing that matters is hard work. Here, she wasn't Steven Seagal's daughter. She was just a rookie, learning from a master. Under Dustin's guidance, she began to rebuild herself, not just physically, but mentally. Dustin taught her how to translate her deep knowledge of BJJ into the unique language of professional wrestling. Her raw power, grappling, and even the defensive principles of her father's Aikido started to merge into a unique, hybrid style. Dustin was blown away by her work ethic and talent, becoming her biggest cheerleader. In an interview, he made a bold prediction. Pretty soon, the whole world's going to be talking about Arissa LeBrock. After months of this transformative training, her moment of truth arrived. In March 2023, Arissa LeBrock competed in the Rhodes Wrestling Academy's Student Showcase, her official public in-ring debut. It wasn't in a giant arena, but in an intimate setting in Texas. And when her arm was raised in victory, it was a quiet, powerful moment of vindication. She had earned this. And that brings us back to that electrifying week in August 2025. The reason Arissa's debuts were so shocking is because they were the culmination of this very real, very difficult journey. When she stepped onto that ramp in WWE, she carried the weight of her legacy, the pain of her injury, and the strength she forged in that Texas gym. She is no longer just Steven Seagal's daughter. She is a professional wrestler who forged her own identity through pain and perseverance. Her arrival completely reshuffles the deck. With a legitimate martial arts background that gives her instant credibility and a story of resilience that fans can connect with, she represents a new kind of star. Much like Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler before her, Arissa brings an aura of authenticity and danger that blurs the line between a show and a real fight. On her first night on Raw, she established herself as a new and dangerous threat to the entire division. The questions are already swirling. How will the rest of the roster adapt to her brutally efficient style? The wrestling community is buzzing with fantasy matchups, with fans eager to see her face top stars across the industry. One thing is clear, her presence forces everyone else to step up. Arissa LeBrock's journey proves that a legacy isn't just something you're given, it's something you build. She refused to live in the shadow of two icons and instead forged her own path through pure grit. She faced a career-ending injury that would have broken most people and fought her way back. She didn't take a shortcut. She took the hard road, and that has made all the difference. This isn't just another set of debuts. It's a statement. A new force has arrived in women's wrestling.